bells ringing. You know, we set the time for a recess, approximate, but if we went over 10 minutes, it was no big deal. We just took our 10-minute recess anytime it was convenient. We only had one rule on the playground, and that was don't go to the creek and don't get in poison oak. They would go and play under the trees, and with the branches that fell, they would build little houses.
I grew up here in Paradise Valley, went to Machado School for 8 years. I came in 1943. I was in first grade, and my dad did the same thing. He was in first grade in 1914. Our row of first graders was right here next to the window. My brother Bob was over there in the fourth grade, and my brother Tony was next to me in the next row in second grade.
Spent 8 years together here in this old building.
Yeah.
And had some pretty interesting times.
We had some great times.
Yeah.
I used to pitch and he was the catcher. And when a game was over, we'd always win and we'd get the ice cream cones. No, we had so much fun together, Paul and I.
I'm very grateful for my years here at Machado. And I think Machado gives you a confidence, an openness, and a peace. It's just so peaceful going here.
Well, we always thought children that came here were very lucky because they didn't have the distractions that other schools had. It was like a big family.
It's only a mile from the city limits, but it's kind of a world apart. It's in its own little different area. And most people in Morgan Hill haven't even heard of it or been out here.
My great-grandfather was one of the founders of this school in 1895. He came from South Dakota, so once he got here, he felt there should be a school for children in this Paradise Valley, as it's called. Thanks to Bernard Machado, who donated an acre and a half here, they had the school built. Originally, it was a one-room school, built in 95, and I think in 1910, they added this second room.
Paul Ward was so instrumental in starting the restoring of this building and organizing the Heritage Society.
I had an old Royal typewriter so I could write letters to the Secretary of State in order to get a non-profit corporation going, and this is about the only thing I've ever done that I think was worthwhile.
There weren't cars, everybody walked, we were very safe. Every day, two boys would go just short ways up here in the hill. There was a fresh water spring, and they would get 2 buckets of water and bring them back, one for the little room and one for the big room for washing or drinking. Of course, there were outhouses out in the back. When Dad came, they had a wood stove, and they would have their turn at bringing in the wood to keep the fire going on cold days.
We carried our own lunch boxes to school, and Pete used to come with homemade bread and a salami sandwich, and my mother would go downtown and get nice white, soft, pre-sliced bread and put deviled egg on it, and Pete and I would trade sandwiches, and we thought we were making a good deal.
Oh, we used to love it.
When we walked in today, Pete showed out in front where we used to dig holes in the dirt and play marbles, and I think he still got some of my marbles because I think he cheated a little bit.
And then Paul went to high school, but my dad put me out in the vineyard to pick grapes and prunes and make wine. What am I, 84? 93? Yeah.
Yeah.
What?
You're a little older than me,
I'm a
Pete.
little older than you. It was something in them days.
Well, Pete, your Sister Jenny is the oldest living graduate from here, I think.
I think so.
And
Yeah.
Jenny's what, now 98?
98, yeah.
Mr. Zander always used to have nicely polished shoes.
Yeah.
And I remember we had a little ceremony, it might have been a graduation ceremony at the school here, and I brought my pet possum. And we had a little stage in there, and my possum had sort of an accident, and Mr. Zander stepped in it with his nice shiny shoes. But imagine having a pet possum coming to a doings at the school. Every morning we lined up in the front steps and saluted the flag.
Oh, yeah.
Gave the Pledge of Allegiance every day.
Every day.
And if it was raining, we did it inside. And I don't think that hurt any of us.
I'll tell you one thing about the flag. When I went to war, I'll tell you, I cried every time I saw that American flag and how great the American boys were fighting that war.
This is a rarity to have a school 120 years and where the school is still loved and cherished by people.
So this one is special too at 120 years. It's remarkable.
So it's a time for us to treasure each other's memories and share each other's memories as we gather here.
Just take yourself back in time for a minute and think of what it was like. I'm sure the birds were chirping. Some things are the same, and I'm sure that a lot of other things are very different from the old school.
It's great to be here as a council member, but perhaps it's even more special for me as an alum of Machado. I attended first and second grades here from 76 to 78. There was something unique about the group of kids that got to go to Machado School. You're all on the same bus together, you're here together, it's small enough that you know every single one, and that group stayed tight throughout the years that we went to schools in Morgan Hill. So there's something special about this place.
Somebody's room on the far side of town, with your mind's all made up and the shades all pulled down. Someone is trying to satisfy you. You don't know you're wild and blue, wild and blue. It's no wonder. I look at the things that you do. Baby, baby, you're already wild and blue.
I think it's incredibly important, even though we're celebrating the 120th anniversary of Machado School, that many people, Native American Indians, lived here well before any of us, so that we have archaeological evidence that shows people lived here over 5,000 years ago, up till the mission era. So that's something culturally very significant to the history of this place.
And every time we do a dance, we do a smaller dance, asking permission from Creator and from our ancestors. Because every native culture is very polite. It's very polite. We always ask permission first.
birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Machado.
School or whatever.
Happy birthday to you.
And many more.
So I'm glad we're having this celebration, and Paul isn't having to work so hard. I think in a way it's honoring him.
Hey, Paul, you better sit down for this one. This is really big.
Delicioso.
Paul, if it wasn't for you, none of us would be here.
Thank you, thank you.
Oh, that's very nice.
That's great.
Yeah, it is.
Hold it up, Paul.
There you go.
Wait a minute, you're done.
Put your zipper up,
No,
Steve.
go ahead.
Is my zipper down?
It's up.
Field trip program has been going for 10 years now. We have all volunteers. Most of the docents are retired teachers or from the school district. I think our Gold Rush program is really unique. Kids get off the bus, it's 1849. We're all in some kind of minor character, and I'm Irish Jan. Welcome to the Machado School Mining Camp. We have a big sign hanging here, and I tell them about the Irish potato famine, and we just kind of go from there. And they go around, they get to do gold panning, they get to make a camp with actual tents, and they're doing all sorts of other things too. It's just a really, really fun day.
It's interesting for school children to understand what it was like when students their age actually came to school here, played in this area. It's a beautiful oak woodland and oak grassland. It's a very special place along Yagas Creek.
We try to have them step back in time and imagine they were here 100 years ago. One of their classes they go to here is with WERC, and so they study the particular animal that they bring that day, and so their kids just love anything in nature, and they just soak it up, and it's a wonderful day.
It's just to enlighten them, to bring what a lot of the history books that they've read about these animals are, bring it alive.
Students who come here value history more than students who have gone through city schools, if you will. They understand the importance of 1895. They have heard the birds in the spring. They have seen the honeysuckle. They understand that this is a part of our community's history. And I would hope that those little kindergartners grow up to be respectful of this school and the treasure it is to our community. I'm so lucky to have been able to be here.
I don't think they'll have anything to take away from Machado, because all I see kids looking at their handheld computers or their phone and playing with that. And frankly, I don't think they would give a damn.
Because there's new discoveries happening every day. I don't care whether it's about the ecology and the environment, it's about evolution and mankind. I think you have to know where you've come from in order to have a better compass to determine where we're going.
Actually, last year we got an award from the California Heritage Council up in San Francisco, and it's the plight of 1- and 2-room schoolhouses is it's going downhill. You know, there's not that many left, and there's not that many that are being used to have children at them. So we feel it's a very unique resource, not only to our area, but also to the county and the state.
You know, get the word out that we are out here and that we welcome them to come and enjoy our building and our unique history.
For people who don't know about Machado, I would hope that they come to discover the peace and quiet that exists out here, and perhaps just sit still and listen to the birds, sit still and listen to the breeze in the trees. I would also, though, hope that they would be conservators, such that when people use this building, I would hope that they respect it. This place has given our community so many memories,